Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. No, guys, sorry, not today. Hey guys, my name is Fabe and welcome back to another episode on the TimeShot server. We are back on the TimeShot server. We still have our little snowman here, but we're not gonna open his chest today. We're gonna wait one more episode, and next Monday I think we're gonna make a little bit of our Christmas adventure here. So, just a little teaser. I hope you don't mind. Alright guys, let's get to business here. You can see it already, a beacon in the spawner. You guys said no, that's not worth the effort, that's way too much work, that doesn't make sense to put it in there. I still did it, and I still love it. Skeletons are still spawning slowly. As you can see, I have a hole in the ceiling too. And I figured it out, I figured it all out. I have, look at it, strength 2. And this spawner is right now, it is on the off mode. So, I'm not gathering skeletons, they are still spawning, I'm not gathering them. But, when there's glass here by the way, when I hit this lever, let's do it. Skeletons come down, and, bam, beacon gone. Let's check just something real quick. We still get a... No, we have a 0 light level, really? So a beacon does not emit light. Oh yeah, I get a light level, just because I'm in a half slab. It does actually emit light. I wonder how big the light is in there now. It shouldn't be too much. I could always lower the beacon a bit, I think, to help it out. It's right below the hopper right now. Let me show you real quick. There it is. And I guess I could lower it by a couple of blocks to make less light protrude up there, but this is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. There's actually quite a bit of light shining and I didn't think of that. So I might lower this guy. Because something that I keep forgetting is that beacons are actually a light emitting block. So they are like glowstone or redstone lamps and emit light constantly. So I might have to lower it a little bit. I was only worried about the daylight coming in and the light of the beam. I'm not actually sure how the beam light is affected. Let's see something here. This is block light 14. And if I go up here, if I pillar up next to it, we have it going down, yeah. 9, 8, 8, 8, 9. Yeah, there must be a light up there that gives me the block light back. But yeah, the beam itself doesn't seem to emit light. Or does it? Maybe a lower... It's hard to say. Maybe it emits actually a light of 8. How could we test that? I guess we could possibly test it by going on the surface. Because there the beacon light is too. Well, let's do this. Let's go up there real quick and test it out. I feel like an experimental mood today. And I also, what I did is I actually used orange stained glass on top of the mountain. So everything looks orange. I haven't put it in there in the back yet. I just noticed. Wait. Oh, it's turned off now. Never mind. I guess we can still test it on the other beam that is still on. I was gonna say, where's the orange beam here? But it should come around... Right here, there's the orange beam, and you can actually see Edson's little pink room up there. The beacon goes right through it, which is kind of funny. And when it's turned on, it also shines orange here on top. Okay, let's check this out. We have a block light of 0, and if we go right next to this guy, we have a block light of 4, 6. So the beacon beam actually emits light. Very interesting. However, if it really only emits light 6, the mob should still be able to spawn. Although less frequently, of course. The lower the light level is, the more frequent mobs spawn. So it is not good enough to have the light level just on 7 or lower. If you're going for efficiency, the lower the better. Which is also why I could probably improve the skeleton grinder quite a bit by covering it all up and get rid of the glass. But I like the glass, I like the looks of it, so I want to keep it. I'm gonna have some better XP farms in my base soon anyways with the cave spider spawner. So that's gonna be nice. But guys, okay, let me show you a few more things before we get back to talking mode, because I have a few things to talk about. Once again. Okay, so what I did, how this works, you might wonder. It's pretty simple. There's redstone right behind here. As you can see, there goes the line all the way back. Let's fill this back in. And let's also put back on my armor. I was wither skull hunting for a bit, that's why I have the armor again. And I used this arch here to basically build this. This is the vertical redstone, just a tower of torches. And wait, I need... What is it I need? I need to cover this up. That should be good. Then we're gonna have... Where's all my stuff? Did I get rid of that? I wonder. I need a stair. I might have I might have emptied my inventory at some point. But I want to fix it up while showing you guys how it works. Okay, and now we can pillar up with coal blocks. And we can just jump down on our way down. I'm sorry. Okay, one more block up. Oh, no, even more. Here we are. All the way up here. Can we... Yeah, sure we can, why not? The last torch ends here, and then we have just some wire going up to a very, very simple sticky piston which covers up the hole. I don't know what you guys had with it's gonna be hard to do. I know some of you were actually concerned that the beacon stat would reset every time I block it and open it up again, but nope. It saves it, and every time I open it up again, I still get the haste. So that's nice, and I also should place these back in. I kept these in my inventory for a reason, because I had to take them out. Okay, how am I gonna do this? In a smart way. I guess I'm gonna just do this. Place it and take some damage. That's alright. Yeah, very simple, very effective. I love the design, and in this mode it gathers skeletons. And then I can open it up again. Which actually... Oh! That was a creeper from behind. That was weird. That felt so weird. Guys, this might be a problem, however. Okay. We still have a little bit of a problem. The daylight burns up my skeletons. So maybe I'll have to do a triple. I'm thinking about that right now. What I possibly could do is, as soon as I turn it on again, automatically activate the crusher. So when they are crushed, there's obviously no sunlight that can get to them. But that would also mean that as soon as I remove the crusher, they will still take some damage. That's not good. How could I solve this? Oh, I know. No, I don't. Do I? No, I don't. I still gotta put some thought into this. I never had that happen to me. I used it a couple of times, but I never noticed that they were burning up when I do this. A flaw in the system. We'll figure it out. I might have to add a third lever, though, in this case. Maybe I'm gonna separate the blocking it off and the activation of the piston up there. Maybe I'm gonna make those independent. That should do the trick, probably. And it shouldn't be too much of a deal, too big of a deal. Anyways, I'm gonna worry about that a little more off camera. But first, do I have... Actually, let's grab some more glass. Another thing I did in the meantime, between episodes, I was collecting tons and tons of sand. Where is it? There it is. Tons and tons of sand, and I already cooked most of it up. I was chopping tons of trees to get the charcoal for this. But overall, I have a ton of glass now. And last episode, you remember, we started digging out the wall where the staircase is, the water staircase, and filling it with glass. And I've done that. It took me a long time, but I've dug everything out, and we have a totally transparent water elevator, staircase, whatever you want to call it. And you can just watch them all just swimming up there, going across in a spiral all the way up there. But as you can see, it is hard to see the second row back there, behind the second row of glass. It is really, really hard to see through. However, for some reason at this point, it gets much clearer, doesn't it? And the reason for that is we have a solid glass wall, 5 thick here. And now you know why I have this buttload of glass prepared. Because I plan on filling it all in with glass. Just for such a simple effect as seeing through it. I replaced the back wall completely with acacia wood to kind of get the orange feel again. And I was disappointed when I did that and I didn't see the orange right away. I was really disappointed, so I think I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna pull through with it now. I was a little hesitant, maybe using some unstained glass instead, but I think the light gray stained glass is still the most see-through glass. And I'm considering putting some lamps back in this wall just to make it pop a little more. But that's details. So guys, let's talk a little bit while I'm filling this all in here in the next couple of hours. I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about you. So last time we talked about Sword Art Online and virtual reality. And guys, you guys seriously, can you go up there? I wonder how high I have to go. Maybe, where's the stair? It's right here, isn't it? You don't seem trapped, do you? No, it should be alright. If I go one more, and then one higher up, and then close it off like this, should be, yeah, they can still go through. So that's good. We talked about Sword Art Online and virtual reality, and you guys shocked me. I was so impressed by how engaged you guys were in the comments. We had some really, really nice discussions in the comments, and I really, really enjoyed that. So thank you guys so much for your comments. I had so much fun discussing the topic with you guys in the comments more, and it made me decide to even talk a little bit more about it this episode today. Just a little bit. I don't want to waste the whole episode talking about it again. But I feel like there are a few things that I want to mention still. So last time we talked kind of about a little bit about the social problems that could come with a virtual reality. But I want a little bit talk about problems on how to get there. We briefly mentioned it, but I want to go a little more into detail with it. So, as you guys know, there are the 5... do I want to go deeper? We need to go deeper. Yeah, I think I want to go... Let me figure this out while we're doing this. There are the 5 different senses. We have the vision, we have the sound, we have the sense of taste, the sense of smell, and the sense of touch, as you guys told me. And these senses all would have to be covered if you want to have a virtual reality. So you need to have input and output, or mostly input. Wait, output from the system into you. So basically output is an input, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, you need a lot to consider for that. And the easiest ones are probably audio and vision, since we pretty much got there already with those two. Vision is basically just the small screens that we gained by now, and some of you guys even mentioned the Oculus Rift, which is basically the virtual reality for vision that we have so far. However, it is only the vision, and only the vision helps definitely with the immersion, because the vision is, I think, the most used of the senses that you use the most in your everyday life. But it's not enough. It's definitely not enough yet. So there's a lot more that has to be done before we can reach the full immersion. For the sound, it is pretty much done already, more or less. I mean, of course, there is surround sound, but if you have something like surround sound, it doesn't completely cover the sense of sound, because you still can tell. The thing is, you can't really tell where the sound exactly comes from in a 3D environment. You could probably tell from which direction it comes if you have the surround sound, but from what distance is still kind of hard to do. And there are actually some approaches to that seem to work fairly well. People have calculated some transfer functions. How do they have to manipulate the sound waves to actually simulate a sound source within an artificial 3D environment. So more or less this problem is also solved. Which leaves us with 3 more senses. And the most complicated to simulate is probably the taste and the smell. And that has some reasons. The sense for taste and the sense for smell both depend on chemical receptors and chemicals that your body senses. And however you can pull it, you can't fool these receptors without actually having the chemicals that activate them. I mean, you can maybe have similar chemicals that activate these receptors, but you can't simulate the same smell or the same taste without getting exactly these molecules that cause the taste. So you can't simulate a virtual reality without the reality, basically, for those 2 senses at least. Unless it is done like in the enemy Sword Art Online with the Nerf gear, where the signals get directly input in your brain by, I don't know, in this case by electromagnetic waves, but of course there might be other options for that. So the difference between the sense of smell and taste and the sense of sound and vision is that for sound and vision you can use the body's own translation mechanisms. I mean, you get light into your eyes and your eyes translate them into nerve signals, into electrical signals for your brain. So what you do for the virtual reality, you give light impulses and you let the human mechanisms run their course and do the translation themselves. And the same is true for the audio. You give the audio impulses and let the brain do the translation work. But you can't, as I just mentioned, you can't do that with the sense of smell and the sense of taste, because you would have to get the real chemicals to trigger these reactions. And since there's such a big variety of chemicals and receptors that we can use to distinguish tastes and smells, there is not a viable way of getting all these in, I don't know, maybe in a little storage chamber in your virtual reality device, and then it gets released whenever it's the time. It's not working like that. You would have to refill it all the time, and there are so many different chemicals that it's just not viable to do something like that. So to fool these senses, you would have to manipulate the brain, and you would have to translate the signals that your brain gets from the receptors yourself. And since these translations into electrical signals are nowhere near understood, this is the hardest time and the most difficult problem that virtual reality developers still have to face. And this makes it probably, my guess would be that we would have, if we get a virtual reality, the first ones, and probably for a long time, they will be without taste and without smell. That's just my prediction that I have for this right at this moment. We'll of course see how it pans out. Hopefully we'll see it. I don't know. It will still take decades probably. But you get where I'm coming from. So, and the last sense is the sense of touch, and especially the control of the character or of the whatever you are in the virtual reality. There are different approaches for that as well. Let's take a quick look at our wall before we do that. Yeah, I think it looks a lot better. You can see the orange a lot better already. It might be even better with some light in there. So I think that turned out nicely. We might have another issue. How could I get rid of this wall? Probably not. Now I can't get rid of this wall, no matter what I do. It will have to stay there. I guess that's alright. Still kind of cool. Okay, let's continue doing that. One story lower. How do I get down there? I guess I could try something ridiculous like this. Okay. That should do the trick. Bridging over in. And breaking in there. Okay, so the sense of touch, if we want to get there before being able to manipulate our electrical signals in the brain itself, we would have to use probably whole body. Oh no, I don't want to melt the eyes. Whole body suits of some sort is what I would guess. How am I gonna do this? Let's just build a staircase down. Because the sensors for touch are all over your body. And it's gonna be really, really hard to fool them. There are two different kinds for touching receptors, or I guess signals you can receive from them. One is really by the nerve cells in your fingertips, for example, where you can feel the texture of something. And for example, the temperature too, which is also another problem. And then there is something, I think it's called kinematic sensors? Kinesthetic? Something like that. Kinesthetic? I don't know, I don't remember. But this is basically... Let's do it like that. This is basically your muscles telling you how much resistance they sense while performing a task, or while, for example, pushing something. And this is also something that would have to be translated. And people have done that so far by having some sort of an exoskeleton, more or less. And in the classical sense, or in science fiction, usually exoskeletons are used to enhance your body performance, so you can perform tasks where you need more power for than your muscles can deal with. But in this case, they are used to actually work against your muscles, to simulate some kind of resistance. Dang it, that was stupid what I just did. Messed it up. To simulate the resistance that you would experience when you're pushing against something. So that's one approach that has been done in the past with different kind of technologies, of course. But it has been fairly efficient. I want to go for lower. That should be sufficient here. And this is the way to go right now. However, of course, it would be a lot nicer to be actually able to manipulate the brainwaves. If it's just for the fact that you don't have to move in the reality when you are moving in a virtual reality. Because as I mentioned last episode, this will cause problems like running into objects in the real world while moving your character in the virtual one, and things like that. So there are possibilities to fool your sense of touch, although it is still a lot harder than, for example, vision or sound. But it is possible. It's probably way more expensive too. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I think that concludes the 5 senses. And I put quite a bit of thought into this lately, as you probably noticed. And I think, as I mentioned, if we get a virtual reality, it will be sound and vision, and then next will be probably touch. And if we should ever be able to fool our brains into thinking that we are tasting or smelling something, if we could analyze out the electrical signals that our receptors give our brain, then we might be able to get a sense of touch. Or what am I doing here? I need to go up. Then we might be able to implement sense of touch, not a sense of smell, sense of taste. The problem is, I don't think it is even confirmed that every brain works the same way. I mean, of course, there are regions that have been identified to are responsible for certain tasks, but since everyone's brain is probably wired up a little differently. It all depends on how your nerve cells or neurons connected while growing up. Or while you're learning even. Your neurons always build up new connections between them. And this reason, this individuality of the brain might be the downfall of something like manipulating electrical signals in the brain by electromagnetic waves, for example. It's still a lot of science. Ah, crap, what happened? Oh, crap. I will be right back. Wow, I got set back quite a bit, didn't I? That happens. You probably noticed it a couple of times before. It's 4 AM for me right now, where I'm living at. And in Germany, once a night, the internet connection has to be reset. And that happens between 4 and 5 AM. So I lost connection and could log in immediately. So it was no problem with the server. Anyways, what I was about to say is that we need... Did I really just only bring 48, although I was up there? Anyways. There's a lot of science that has to be done still to get something like that figured out. And I just hope I was born in the age where I still will live when we can figure something like that out. I hope that this branch of entertainment systems, more or less, I mean, it has so many applications, not only gaming. You could use it for so much different stuff, simulations, training for pilots, whatever, for all kinds of jobs. You could use something like a virtual reality. So it is definitely worth looking into, in my opinion, for so many causes, and I hope we'll figure some of the stuff out. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna finish this off and then I'm gonna show you the final result. I rambled on for a long time. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any ideas or opinions on that matter, leave it in the comments. I love discussing it with you guys a little more. And I'm really happy that you guys were so engaged last episode. I don't know. Maybe I will try to do that more often in the future. Alright, guys, I'm done. Done filling it all in. A solid 5 thick glass front up there, here, and a small little part down there. And as I mentioned, I'll probably have to implement some sort of lights. Maybe jack-o'-lanterns, since they kind of fit in with the orange color. Or I might go just using redstone lamps. Also look kind of nice. Anyways, I rambled a lot in this episode. And once again, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you guys have any suggestions for topics I could talk about in the future, I'll be happy to oblige. Because I had a blast discussing these kind of things with you guys. Anyways, I'll see you all again in the next episode on the TimeShot server. And until then, have a nice day. And seriously, guys, don't be daft. Play some Minecraft.